What's up, EV Clan? Alex Espion here, and welcome back to another video. Today we are playing a little bit of good old-fashioned Slither.io. As you can see, I just played a little bit for a little test to go, and I got a score of 10 because I just wanted to make sure that I could record the game. It would be like a good capture, and I hope that everything is working correctly. Upon doing a little test, it all seemed to be working correctly, but this is my first time capturing something that's on Windows. Not on I guess on Windows, but this is my first time capturing something that's on the on a browser, because usually I capture something from Steam or something from an emulator. Oh, okay, this isn't Snake. I forgot this isn't Snake. I haven't played Slither.io in quite a long time, guys, but I literally just rammed into my own tail, and I was like, oh no, I'm gonna die, and I didn't, because this isn't Snake. This is not that game. This is a different game entirely. You can go over yourself as many times as you want. What you cannot bump into is somebody else's tail. So, I mean, I hope my audio is recording alright. In the test that I did, it seemed to be recording okay. But what's really throwing me off is that I'm not receiving any audio right now, and I don't know if this game is supposed to have music. I don't really remember. But the fact that I don't remember the game having any music is telling me that it probably doesn't, so I guess maybe I'll add music in post or something. But I'm not hearing any music, which means you guys are probably also not hearing any music, and gosh darn it, okay, I died. So, 364, that's not bad for my first time playing this in actual years, but I used to be the GOAT at Slither.io, and apparently I still got it. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know how many people still play this game, but 5 years ago I was playing this game like crazy. In real life I actually do like snakes a decent amount. I think snakes are pretty cool. They're very different from other animals, you know, they don't have any arms or legs. They just kind of slither around on the ground. It's very interesting to me how they get around without limbs. How they can maneuver themselves. And just watching them do that zigzag type of formation where they go left, right, left, like that, they slither across the ground like that. It's very mesmerizing, honestly, very satisfying to watch. But I just realized the way I'm recording this, I'm not going to be able to see how long the video is, so I guess I'll just take note of the time it is now, and I'll make sure that I'll make sure that I look down every once in a while at the time that it is, and see, given that, how long I've been recording. But, yeah, I do like snakes. I think that another cool fact about snakes, obviously, they have no limbs. That's not really so much a fact, so much as it is stating the obvious. That is a cool thing about them, but everybody knows that, so it's not really a fact. And gosh darn it! Remember when I said I was the GOAT at this game? No, actually, I'm just not. I'm not a GOAT at all. I'm not the GOAT. I'm just a snake. Just your average everyday snake. No GOAT, no goatiness whatsoever. No GOAT involved with the snake. I'm not a snake GOAT hybrid. I'm not a gate. Gate? Is that? I guess that's goat snake combination. I could come up with something better than that. I'm not like a gake. Gake? I'll go with gake. Goat snake. Gake. I'm not a gake. I'm just your average snake. But it sounds like a rap lyric, like a really bad rap lyric. But yeah, there is no music in the background here, so I guess you'll just hear even better my computer notifications as they go off, because those always go off in the background of the video. I don't know how to stop that. I'm sure I could stop it pretty easily if I actually was oh, okay, can we stop circling around ourselves and get the thing that's in between? Guess not. I was circling over a dot that I wanted to get, and I just wasn't getting it. I was just going in a circle around coiling around nothing. It was really stupid. But okay, so we've got some big glowy dots over here. I never seem to catch these, because I feel you want to catch these, you want to have to speed up. And then I feel at that point it's not worth it, because every time you speed up, you boost, you leave behind your own little particles. So it's you're leaving particles behind to get a big particle. Is it really worth it? I don't know. At what point is it not worth it? How far do you have to speed before you are losing more than you're gaining? You know? Because certainly a little bit of speeding up a little bit in order to get those big flying particles that are flying all around the place. Certainly speeding up a little bit to get those is fine, because otherwise why would they have them in the first place? Clearly you have to speed up to get those. They just travel too fast. It only makes sense that you would have to speed up. But oh, this guy, okay, he looked pretty small when he was coiling around himself, but actually he's pretty big. I thought for a second that I'd be able to coil around him, but I cannot. Oh wait, this guy might be able to coil around me though. He looked big. I don't really know how big. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Oh, he's very big. Oh, he's very big. Oh, stop coiling around me, please. Okay, got you. Let's go. Let's go. That's food for me. Oh, that's more food for me. You tried to take the spoils of my victory. You tried to eat what remained of him once I killed him, and then I killed you too. To the victor goes the spoils, and I am the ultimate victor in this situation. Oh, I am the ultimate victor in this situation. Let's go. Okay, someone is going to be also picking these up from like another angle, so I gotta be careful. Like that, that guy. That guy is the guy who is also picking them up, so I gotta be careful of him, because he's in the same area of me, going for the same big old dots that that guy dropped. But we seem to not be in too much trouble with him just yet. I hope he's not like coiling around me and I just don't see it because I'm too small. Okay, he is coming up next to me. I kind of want to go the other way. Okay, we both need to not go up anymore because there's a big guy up there. And I don't know if I caught his attention. I don't know if he's like coiling around me right now. That's my biggest fear in this game, is that someone is coiling around me and I'm just way too small to notice. You can like zoom out in this game, can't you? You probably can, but I don't want to mess around with it. Because if I zoom out too much, then I won't know how to like zoom back to where I was before, and then I'm gonna be stuck on like a weird zoom. It doesn't look right. Because I like to have my point of view zoomed in to a certain degree, and then I don't really know what that degree is. But like this looks fine. I don't want to mess with this. Like I know I probably could get more zoomed out for a little and do like a little bit of a get like a little bit more of a helpful zoom out so that I could see like more people around me, so that I could see like is someone what's the word, coiling around me. What's the snake that does that? It coils around its prey. I don't know. There's like a term for that. I don't remember what it's. Oh, they're just like bumping into me. Like, dude, do you not see my tail right here? Like, you do not want to bump into that. That's kind of the whole point of the game, is that you don't want to bump into my tail. But they just keep on doing it. They just never learn, huh? Please do not kill me. Please stop trying to kill me. It's mean. Ah! No. Okay, 4,000. 4,000. That's significantly better than 600. That is an upgrade. But yeah, another cool thing about snakes, besides the whole not having limbs thing and their mesmerizing, like, squiggly pattern when they move, is that their jaws are unhinged. Like, and I know unhinged is like, oh wow, that's like super, you have no chill, right? That's like a phrase that is like used, that's an expression. But like, they have a literal unhinged jaw. Like, it's not like they're unhinged, like they have no chill. It's like the jaw is literally, it has no hinge. Like, it just drops. Like, it can come out, like their jaw just can like, bottom jaw disconnects from top jaw. And that is really cool to me, that they could just like disconnect it like that so that they can like swallow big things. Because like, snakes' teeth are really, like, they're sharp, but they're not thick, you know? So like, if they bite into something, it really doesn't leave a mark. They really can't grind stuff up with their teeth, because like, it's sharp, yeah, and their teeth are sharp so that they can like inject poison, so they can really get in there. Like, the teeth are sharp, they go like pretty deep into the prey, but they don't actually like grind things up, you know? They are meant for slicing and cutting, not necessarily like mushing things up. Not necessarily like reducing something to a mush. Because like, obviously, different animals have different types of teeth. Herbivores have these like, wide teeth that are really like, flat on the tops, but they're like, because they're so wide and thick, they're good for just like munching down on things, sort of grinding it up. But like, carnivorous animals don't really do that. They like cut it up with their teeth. Like, herbivores grind, carnivores cut, and human beings have like both carnivore and herbivore teeth. We have like a little mix, so we do both. We eat both like plants and animals because we have the teeth for that. But other animals, yeah, it's like usually like herbivore or carnivore teeth, and like herbivores and carnivores both like grind up their food usually, but it's just they have a different way of doing it. Well, they don't grind it. Both herbivores and carnivores break down their food in some way, but like carnivores cut it with their teeth because they're sharp, and then herbivores don't have sharp teeth. They have like broad, flat teeth, so they grind it up. So it's like a difference between cutting and grinding. But like, either way, they are breaking down their food into smaller stuff, right? But like, a snake can't do that. Its teeth are like, it has the sharpness to cut, but it doesn't really do all that much cutting because they're not thick enough. Like, they just sort of go in. It's like a mosquito, you know? Like, its little proboscis, I don't know if that's the term, It's like little mouth thing that it uses to suck the blood out of things. It is... Will you stop trying to be aggro on me, you stupid little snake? Like, get off my back, dude. But yeah, like, it's like the mosquito with, it's like proboscis, I think is the term. I don't really know if that's what it's called for a butterfly, the thing that they like drink nectar out of. Do butterflies drink nectar? Certainly. Like, what would they do with that straw mouth? What else would they do? What else would they be eating with that? Certainly they drink nectar. But yeah, whatever their little like nose mouth thing is called, mosquitoes. It's like sharp so that it can get the blood from inside of things and like suck it out, but it doesn't actually like cut, you know? Like, it goes into it. It like drills into it a little bit. It's like a little... Its purpose is not really to cut something so much as it is to like do a little injection into it, and really the snake is the exact same way. Its teeth are sharp, but they're not wide, so they can't cut. It can't really do anything. Like, the teeth are sharp enough to go into something, to like cut into something, but it can't cut anything else from there. Like, it can go in, it can like they can bite straight down and go into something because they're sharp enough to, but once they go into something, they really can't do anything from there because their teeth are so thin that it just kind of is like a paper cut, you know? It's like little thin thing cut into you, and it like hurts for a second, but they're not gonna like cut further with that, you know? It just like goes into the skin. Like, when a snake bites down on you, I wouldn't know, but like, I'm just saying, like, judging by their teeth, I can make this assumption. But like, when a snake bites down on you, I've never been bitten by a snake, so maybe this isn't the most accurate depiction, accurate explanation. But when a snake bites down on you, I'm sure that their teeth will just like go in, and they can't really do anything from there because they're just like so thin. They're not gonna like cut any further, you know? Like, they'll go straight down, and then, but they're not gonna like continue biting, like leave a big old bite mark. Like, it's not gonna like bite down and then like continue to like drag it, you know? It's not gonna like drag through your skin, leaving behind like a big old like scratching bite mark, you know? Where it's not gonna like make a whole like slashing thing. It's just gonna be like two small holes where it bit you, but it's not gonna like cut anywhere else. It's not gonna like continue to cut through in like a different direction because that it can't, you know? Like, snakes' teeth are for... snakes' teeth are made so that they, like, inject things. That's why snakes have, like, poison, because, like, their teeth can go into something, they can, like, use their teeth to make, like, little tiny holes, but from there's nothing really they can do because their teeth are so thin that they can't really, like, continue to bite. They can't really continue to, like, slice through the skin with them. It's just like they make that initial contact, the teeth go into the prey's skin, and then like that's about it. Like, they can't really like drag it through this prey's skin, cutting through in like a direction. They're just sort of there because they're such weak teeth that they can't even drag through the skin. Like, they just go in there and they come straight out. And that's why snakes have poison, is because like they can't just like shred their prey. They can't just like they can't just like slice right into their prey with their teeth and then like continue to drag through their skin, like cutting them, slicing off pieces. Like, their teeth aren't for slicing things. Their teeth are for like injecting poison. They are too weak to continue. They can like go into prey's skin, but they can't continue to like cut through it. So they just kind of like put the teeth in and take the teeth out. And the reason why this is so deadly is because most snakes have poison. And so the snakes that don't have poison, like, obviously getting bitten by a snake is going to hurt, but at least you know it's not going to, like, a snake is not going to bite your arm off. Like, a wolf could bite your arm off because its teeth are, like, sharp and huge and like, wide, you know? They're, like, not only sharp, but also huge and wide. But, like, okay, do not kill me. Do not kill me. I will be so mad. I'll be so mad if you kill me. I'm making a move for this little guy. I was about to kill him, and then he was, like, getting all up in my face, and I'm like, actually, you know what? He might kill me, and that would be very embarrassing. But, yeah, it's not like a wolf where it has, like, it has big sharp teeth. They're, like, really small sharp teeth, and they don't have much, like, width to them, so they just kind of, like, go in and go out. They don't like slice in a direction. They don't like go in and then slice as like it doesn't like drag its teeth through things. It doesn't like cut with them. It doesn't like cut things off, like cut through things. It just sort of like makes an initial cut through which it puts in poison to the prey, and then takes the teeth back out, because that's really all its teeth are built to do. But like, yeah, since it can't like grind up its food like a herbivore, and it can't slice up its food like a carnivore, what it does instead is it has like this huge unhinged jaw, and basically, so it just swallows things whole, because it can't grind them up, it can't cut them up. So what does it do? It just swallows the entire thing whole, and that's why you see these snakes with like big old lumps in their bellies, is because that's just where their prey is. A lot of them like poison the prey and then swallow it whole, because like swallowing prey whole, obviously when it's conscious, is not the easiest thing to do, I'm sure. But like if you like knock it out, if you like tranquilize it with a poison, or even like just kill it, you could just outright kill it with poison. Then obviously it's easier to eat the body, to like swallow it whole, because they don't have that ability to just like slice something up with their teeth. They can't just like shred through it and kill it. It's not like the actual slicing. It's not like an actual slicing motion that snakes use when killing stuff with their teeth. What they use to kill stuff with their teeth is the poison that comes out of it. And sometimes that doesn't even kill. Sometimes that's just like to neutralize the target. And then the target doesn't actually die until they're like in the snake's body. So either the snake kills the target with the poison, and then they eat the dead body, or they just kill it with I'm dead. So either they kill the target with the poison, and then eat the dead body, or they neutralize the target with like a less strong poison, which just like simply knocks it out or like tranquilizes it or whatever, and then they eat the body, and the target doesn't actually die until they're in the stomach being disintegrated by the snake's stomach acid or whatever. But like either way, snakes don't just like kill their prey by biting it. They don't like shred them to pieces. Their teeth aren't built to do that. And so instead of like, so they have to be able to, because they can't like swallow, because they can't like grind up the prey at all. They can't like slice it. They can't like make it into smaller chunks at all. They don't have any way of doing that, so they have to be able to swallow it whole. And so that's where the unhinged jaw comes into play. And that's, in summary, why snakes are really cool, is that they can do all that. Is that like that's how they work. They work very differently from your average like carnivore, your average like predator, because their goal is not to like kill you with, like, a lot of predators use their bite like to kill things, but its bite is not actually that strong. The purpose of its bite is not actually to like flat out kill the thing, but in some cases it is, but it's not to kill it by force. Like a snake never kills things with bite force. It kills things by injecting prey with a bite. So that's something that's really cool about snakes. In summary, snakes are really cool. Yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about, so I'm going to go now to another topic. Right out of nowhere. There's no good transition for this. I'm just going to go to like a completely random topic, because I don't know what else to talk about. I don't know how much longer this video is going to be. I think I'm trying to figure out how long I've gone already, but whatever. I'll tell this story, and then because it's like a little funny story. I don't know how long it's going to take to tell it, but I'll tell it, and then maybe I'll end off the episode. We'll see how I feel. We'll see if I feel that the episode has been long enough, because like I said, can't really tell how long the episode's been. The timer is not there. The timer is not available for me to look at. So yeah, basically, I don't remember what grade it was, but it was like 4th, 5th, maybe. I know it was before 7th, but basically, my class went on a field trip to a museum, and I was like we were walking around in the museum, and then, as you do, and we were like we spent a couple hours walking around, and then we sat down in the park to have lunch. And during this field trip, that we got out of the bus, and someone was cursing right outside the bus, and some students thought that was pretty funny. But that's not the story here. That's just additional information that really has nothing to do with anything. Just, it's kind of funny, because like it wasn't even like that bad of curses either. It was just kind of like oh, we're stupid little fourth or fifth graders or whatever. I don't know how old we were, but we were young, so we just like hear a guy cursing on a phone as we exit the bus, and everyone thought that was freaking hilarious. It's just like, you're in a city full of people, of course someone's gonna be cursing, but we thought it was the most hilarious thing because we were little children. But anyway, so we were walking around in the museum for a while, and then it was time to go out of the museum, like down to the park, and that was where we were gonna have our lunch. And so I've been carrying my lunch around all day with me, and I don't know if that's what we were supposed to do. I don't recall. I don't know if because I feel like in most museums like food isn't allowed or something. I don't know. It seems like the kind of place where they'd be like, don't bring food in here. But I do think that I was carrying it around all day, or maybe I was just maybe I just like left it somewhere, and then we went to get it, and then we had to like walk all the way to the park, and maybe it was a big walk. But either way, I had to carry my lunch to the park, and my lunch consisted of, I don't know what it was, but I do know it had a Sprite in it. I don't remember like what the actual lunch was, but I do remember that the drink I had with me was a Sprite, because I love Sprite. Sprite is my favorite soda. And so we walked into the park, and we sat down on the grass, and we started eating, and I ate my food. I was eating my food, and then I'm like, hey, I need a drink now. So I open up my Sprite. I go to open up my Sprite, and I'm like having trouble with it, and so I'm turning it. It's not opening. I turn it some more. I'm like, dang, this thing really isn't opening, and I'm trying my best. I'm like turning as hard as I can, and it just won't open. So I'm like, guys, I'm having trouble with this. And they're like, no, you got it. And then, just like, I got someone else to, like, I got someone else's help. One of my friends tried to open it too. It just wasn't opening. And then, so I like, grabbed it back. I took it back, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I got it. I'll figure it out. I can get it. And so, I went back to trying to open it, and then it opened. And it just exploded soda everywhere. So, I guess while walking it around, I shook it up too much. It got a little too shaken up, and it just exploded Sprite all over all of my clothes. And I'm sure that person that was trying to help me open it, was really thankful that it didn't open while they were trying to open it, because like I gave it to someone, and they were like, okay, I can open it, and then they just couldn't open it. And so then I took it back and tried to open it myself again. And I got it open, but at what cost? Because sure enough, when I opened it, it exploded. So they dodged a bullet there, you know? Like, my friend, I don't remember who exactly it was, but someone dodged a bullet there. Because if it had opened when they were opening it, then the soda wouldn't have ended up all over them. But yeah, going back to the topic of snakes, I actually have this aquarium. There's like an aquarium place at a mall next, like, I'd say a solid like 40 minutes away from my house. And I don't know why they have like all these, I don't know why they have so many animals there, because it's like an aquarium place, right? So you'd think like, oh yeah, fish and like sharks and stuff, right? What you probably wouldn't expect to see in an aquarium would be like a pig. But sure enough, they have one of those. They have pigs, they have guinea pigs, they have, like, what's another weird animal that they have there? There was a bunny, I think. They have otters, that's pretty normal. Those are, like, mammals with legs, which, obviously there aren't a lot of those in the water, but that is still a water creature. But, they do have, obviously, a couple animals that straight up don't belong in the water. And that begs the question of, like, hey, why are they here? But I'm not going to complain, because I like animals. I am an animal enjoyer. So, you know, they may not necessarily belong there. They may be a little bit out of place. These animals that definitely don't belong in the water, who are at an aquarium for some reason. They may be a little bit out of place here, but I'm down to, like, look at them anyway. But there was one particular animal there. And now I've spent so long talking about the animals that shouldn't be there that I've actually forgotten where I was going with all this. Yes, okay, they had a snake. They did have a snake there, and I touched it, and it was great. It was very smooth, a little bit slimy. I don't know how that works out. I think they pee through their skin. That's another fun fact about snakes. Don't quote me on that one. That might be a different animal. But I'm fairly sure they pee through their skin, because obviously, like, if you look at a snake, there's no dick. There's no penis on a snake, you know? So, like, where would they pee out of besides their skin? So I guess I think it just secretes from their skin. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm fairly sure that it just, like, goes straight through. They just pee straight through their skin. Their skin is pretty thin, so I guess, like, makes sense. Can I, like, stop this guy from encircling me? Hold on. Nope. The answer is no. I was trying to cut him off. I was trying to, like, get in front of him so he touched me, so he, like, touched the side of my body. And then we'll go for one more. I don't know how long this episode has been, but we'll go for one more. But, yeah. I don't know. Like, I guess their bodies are their skin is pretty thin. So, I guess it's, like, possible. But, yeah, I'm fairly sure, like, judging by the thinness of their skin, it sounds possible that they would pee through their skin. And I don't know what I can't think of another animal that, like, I would be able to explain why they pee through their skin. Like, with this one, it makes sense. Obviously, there's nothing else for the pee to really come out of, unless you were, like, where is another hole, and where is a hole in a snake's body? Like, its mouth? If it peed out of its mouth, that would be very disgusting. And, like, kind of counterintuitive, I'd imagine. It's just, like, you drink the water, it, like, drinks the water, and then it, like, comes back out instantly as pee. Like, that doesn't make sense. If you just, like, water comes in and goes in and comes out the same way, I don't think that's how anatomy works for anything. But, I'd imagine, like, I can't think of any other animal where it would be the case, where it would make sense for it to pee out of its skin. But, like, with a snake, I can justify it, so I'm pretty sure that's the animal I'm thinking. I'm pretty sure that's the right animal. I'm pretty sure that snake is indeed the animal that I heard pees out of its skin. So, I will check that with Google, after I'm done with this. But I am fairly sure. So I'd imagine that's where, like, the sliminess of it is, because snakes aren't, like, amphibious. Like, you think of slimy animals and you think of amphibians, like frogs or, like, salamanders. Like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I don't know why that makes sense. Actually, I'm not even going to try to explain why biologically amphibians are, like, slimy. I don't know why. I genuinely have no idea. But I say amphibians are slimy, and you're like, heck yeah, makes sense. Like, I don't know why it makes sense, but for some reason, like, whenever I say amphibians are slimy, you're like, heck yeah, because it just makes sense in our minds. Like, we have just identified as a species, human beings have just identified as a species that amphibians are slimy, and I don't really know why that makes sense. But anytime someone says amphibians are slimy, you just kind of take their word for it, because it's like, yeah, I heard that, I know that, that seems like fact to me. Like, you point to an amphibian and you go, hey, that's slimy, and then someone's like, yeah, I believe it. Like, we've just established as human beings, as the human race, we've established that amphibians are slimy. We hold these truths to be self-evident. But, obviously, snakes are reptiles. I don't know if this is, like, a thing with anybody else, but me personally, I tend to confuse amphibians and reptiles. Maybe it's just because, like, they both tend to be green. I'd imagine, like, okay, there are other green animals, surely, that aren't, like, that was a terrible run, I'm gonna go for another one. There are other green animals, certainly. Like, amphibians and reptiles definitely aren't it. They aren't, like, all the green animals in the world. But, like, you think of green animals, you think of either a reptile or an amphibian. Like, those are the main green animals that you think of. If you can think of an animal that's green and not an amphibian or a reptile, then you're lying to me, because there are none, clearly. But, yeah, you think of, like, green animals, you think of, like, amphibians or reptiles, so the fact that, like, they both tend to be green, I guess, they both have, like, green animals associated with them, makes me confuse them. But, they are, like, very different types of animals. So, so snake is a reptile. So, and, like, amphibians are supposed to be the slimy ones, so I wouldn't really know why snakes would be slimy, because you think of, like, other reptiles, and you're like, well, turtles aren't slimy, you know? Like, they're wet, because they come out of the water. But, like, if you were to touch a turtle that hadn't been in water for a while, like that thing would not be wet at all, because turtles aren't naturally slimy like frogs or other amphibians are. But and like same thing with, you know, like crocodiles. Like crocodiles, they may be wet, but that's not because like crocodiles are naturally slimy creatures. That's because they come out of the water. I've never actually felt a crocodile. Go figure. Never actually felt a crocodile, but I'd imagine they're wet. They look wet. Like if I see a picture of a crocodile, I'm like, that thing looks wet. So I'd imagine that they are wet because they just look that way. But yes, don't judge a book by its cover. It could be like perfectly dry and it just looks wet. But I'm just gonna say crocodiles are probably wet. I'm just gonna go with that. If anyone has ever touched a crocodile in the comments, you can confirm. You can confirm. You could tell me if you can confirm or deny. Tell me, please, are crocodiles as wet as they look? But I'd imagine they're pretty wet. But that's not because they're like naturally slimy. That's just because they come from the water. Like if you look at reptiles that don't live in the water, then they're not typically wet. They typically don't feel wet. They typically don't feel moist because reptiles aren't naturally slimy. I can't really think of a reptile that doesn't commonly live in the water, but that's just because I'm kind of stupid. That doesn't disprove my point. Let me think. Because alligators, there are alligators that don't live in the water, right? Like I feel like crocodiles are the ones that live in the water, and then alligators are not. But then alligators are like, I am just chasing this thing down. I'm going to lose all my size chasing this thing down. See, this is one of those points where it's just not worth it. Like, why are you going for the big one? You are draining all of your body mass right now. I am literally just like boosting after this thing, leaving behind so much green. Like, okay, I'm done. I am done losing all my size. I feel like my tail was going off the screen before, and now it no longer is. I mean, it is when I'm going straight like this. But like, I feel like my tail has got so much shorter chasing that red thing, and I was picking out like little dots along the way, but that didn't make up for the massive amount of dots I was losing, massive amount of dots draining from my body as I chased that thing, because I chased that thing about like across like so much map. I would have to like look back after. I want to look back at the recording. Like while I'm editing this, like while I'm watching the recording back, I might have to look back at that and just like look at the map, look at the bottom of the screen, like in the bottom right corner there's a map there. So I might have to like look at that map and see like just how far I traveled, because I'm actually kind of curious, like how far did I travel chasing that thing? How far was I chasing that thing across the map? Because it felt like I chased that thing pretty darn far. Yeah, like alligators. I feel like crocodiles are like always in the water, but alligators are not. Like crocodiles are always water creatures, but some alligators are not water creatures. Like, I feel like some alligators live in like the desert. I may be completely wrong on this one, but I do think that like, I mean on the alligators are, I mean on the all crocodiles are water creatures part. I definitely know for a fact that there are alligators that live in the desert. I know that there are some types of alligators that do not need water. I also know that I can get away from this guy because he can't fully encircle me, because the border of the map is here. So if he tries to fully encircle me, he's just going to die. He's just going to ram right into the edge of the map, and he will not be able to do so. So I am safe for now, unless he like gets to a point where he actually can encircle me, and then I'm just dead. But it seems like I've gotten away. Either that, or he is so big that he is encircling me right now as we speak, and I cannot even see him. But yeah, I know for a fact that alligators do live in the desert. I know for a fact that there are species of alligators that do live in dry places. I'm just not so certain about my statement that crocodiles always live in the water. Like, I know that some alligators live in the water, and some live in dry places, but I don't know if that's the same for crocodiles. I feel like crocodiles are always in the water, but once again, could be wrong. I know that there is like a bigger difference between alligators and crocodiles. I don't really remember what it is. I don't remember what the like main difference is. I think it has something to do with their snouts, like the way their noses are. But like, if you show me an alligator versus a crocodile, I would be like, well, that one's green, so it's a crocodile, even though that's not even how it works. Like, there are green alligators, I am well aware, but I always think of like crocodiles as the green ones, even though like Montgomery Gator exists. Like, that's a green alligator. And I looked at Montgomery Gator from FNAF, and I'm like, that's not an alligator. Alligators aren't green. And then I realized, no, wait, they are. I'm just stupid. So, like, I always think of crocodiles as the green one, and alligators as, like, being brown. And like I said, there are alligators that like live in dry places, that live in like deserty places. But and that would make sense. And given that, like, it makes sense that some were brown because they need to like blend into the ground. So that makes sense, like for camouflage purposes, that those ones would be brown. But there are definitely alligators that are green. I have seen pictures of alligators that are green, so I know that they do exist. But I always think of crocodiles as the green one for some reason. I feel like crocodiles are just more often depicted as green. Honestly, I think crocodiles are more often depicted in general. Like, when it comes down to alligator versus crocodile, I feel like media always goes, like, all in on crocodiles. Like, I feel like alligators just don't get too much attention comparative to crocodiles when it comes to, like, movies and video games and TV shows and stuff. Like, TikTok Croc is, like, classic crocodile who is not an alligator, and that's like a crocodile that lives in the water. So, you know, like, that is, it's crocodiles like that in media that live in the water. Like, I can't think of a crocodile in a piece of media that does not live in the water. Like, I'm sure, like, there probably are crocodiles that don't live in the water. But the reason why I'm so misguided on this subject, the reason why I think that all crocodiles live in the water, is because media has presented to me a world where all crocodiles live in water. Like, if I am misinformed on this subject, that's not my fault. That's just the stereotypes that media is presenting to me about alligators and crocodiles. Like, maybe not all crocodiles live in the water, but I wouldn't know because media is presenting to me this reality where that is the truth, where that is, where it's true, where that's the, just like, that is what they are presenting to me. You know, they are presenting to me a world where only crocodiles, where crocodiles only live in water, while alligators live on land and in water. So maybe that's not true, but that is what is being presented to me by media. So if I'm wrong, not my fault. That's media's fault for propagating this crocodile stereotype. But anyway, like, reptiles aren't naturally slimy. Turtles are like moist because they come from the water. Crocodiles, moist because they come from the water. Snakes are also reptiles. So you'd think moist because they come from the water, except they don't come from the water. So then it's like, oh, so it's just so then like the next thing you might think is, oh, they're just like amphibians, and they are just like naturally slimy, so that's why they're moist. Because they're reptiles, and reptiles who are moist usually come from the water. So, that's odd, but you'd be like, oh, alligators, like, you know, hold on, I'm just, like, not thinking. I'm just not thinking anymore. I'm just not thinking about what I'm saying anymore. I need to, like, take a step back and, like, actually think before more meaningless words come out of my mouth. So just, like, you think about snakes, right? And they're just, like, they're naturally moist, which is not a trait that a lot of reptiles have, because, like, they're not. Like, they are moist most of the time you touch them, but that's just because they came out of the water, because a lot of reptiles seem to live in the water. But the fact that snakes don't live in the water at all, and they are moist, it's like, the reason for that, the only reason that makes sense to me in my head, because amphibians are the ones that are naturally slimy, so it can't be that they're naturally slimy. That can't be the reason why snakes are moist. Because you look at a snake and you wouldn't think it would be moist. Because, like, they live in the desert. Everything in the desert is, like, dry. But, snakes are, in fact, moist. I have touched one. I know this. So, maybe not all snakes, but that specific snake, yeah, sure, definitely moist. I can confirm, definitely a moist snake. It was a white snake. I don't really know what that says about, like, the species, but it was a white snake. That's the color of snake I was touching, and it was so smooth. It was very smooth, but also, like, it had a lot of texture to it. You know, like, I don't really know what that means. I don't really know how that's possible. It can be smooth and textured at the same time, because smooth sort of indicates that there's, like, suggests that there'd be no texture. That it would be, like, very flat and, like, not, I don't know, just, like, not textured at all, nothing really, like, protruding out of it, just, like, straight up flat. Like, feels like no texture whatsoever. Just, you run your hand over it and it's, like, just flat. That's what smooth would seem to indicate, but it was, like, smooth, but also textured. You know, like, I could feel the individual scales, but, like, all the scales were smooth, you know? Like, there was definitely a texture to the snake. Like, it definitely did have, like, I definitely could feel the scales. I could feel, like, I just, like, ran my hand down his body, and I could feel, like, each individual scale, like, where one stopped and the other began. You know, like, I could feel the scales running down its body. Like, I could feel, like, just, like, little bumps to him, like, where the scales are. Like, not really big old bumps that, like, protrude out of the body a whole lot, because the scales are relatively flat themselves, but just, like, I could feel, like, oop, scale goes up, and then scale goes down, next scale. Scale goes up, scale goes down, next scale. Because they're, like, they're not, like, super duper flat. But, like, they do have some texture to them. But just, like, all the scales, like, just run my hand down the body, and I could just feel all the scales. So there was, like, texture, there were, like, certain things protruding, like, it was, like, a little bumpy, but at the same time, very smooth, if that makes sense. Like, smooth, but bumpy. Like, scales, I could feel, like, each individual scale coming down its body. I could feel, like, the bumps of the scales, but the scales themselves were smooth, if that makes sense. It's like, lots of bumps, but smooth bumps. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but I don't know. Maybe you'd be able to describe it better if you touched a snake, but I don't know if you touched a snake. If you have touched a snake, maybe you could explain it better down in the comments, but that's my explanation of how snakes feel. In summary, that's my explanation of how snakes feel. Welcome to my TED Talk. But yeah. What I'm trying to think. Other alligators or crocodiles. Oh, I don't need to think of any other alligators or crocodiles. I'm just going to end the video because I said that was the last one, and that was the last one. So, bye guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time. This is Alex Espion, signing off.